Have you ever wondered what the pharaohs of ancient Egypt might have eaten for dinner? Imagine a time when the world was young, and the fertile banks of the Nile River were the breadbasket of an emerging civilization. The ancient Egyptians, in their wisdom, harnessed the river's bounty and developed a cuisine that would shape their culture for millennia to come. The cornerstone of this early diet was bread, a symbol of sustenance and life. Made from emmer wheat or barley, it was often sweetened with dates, honey, or figs. But bread wasn't just food for the body, it was also a part of their religious rituals and offerings to the gods. But the wealth of the Nile didn't stop at grains. The river teemed with fish and waterfowl, providing a steady supply of protein. The fertile silt left by the annual flooding was perfect for growing a variety of fruits and vegetables, from dates and figs to onions, garlic, and lettuce. Of course, the ancient Egyptians didn't exist in a vacuum. Their cuisine was influenced by the surrounding cultures and the trade routes of ancient times. Spices from the Far East, olives from the Mediterranean, and even cattle from sub-Saharan Africa found their way into the Egyptian kitchen, adding layers of complexity to their dishes. Yet, despite these influences, the core of the Egyptian diet remained remarkably consistent. From the lowly farmer to the mighty pharaoh, everyone dined on the bounty of the Nile, shaped by the hands of skilled cooks and bakers. So the basis of Egyptian cuisine was set thousands of years ago, with a diet rich in grains, vegetables, and fish, laying the foundation for the dishes we see today. As centuries passed, Egypt came under Islamic rule. But how did this change the culinary landscape? The Islamic era, spanning from the 7th to the 19th century, had a profound influence on Egyptian cuisine. This period marked the introduction of new ingredients and spices, transforming the flavor profile of traditional dishes. The Islamic rule brought an influx of diverse ingredients, such as rice, wheat, and a variety of vegetables. This led to a shift from a predominantly fish and meat-based diet to one that included a more balanced mix of grains and veggies. Spices like cumin, coriander, and cardamom also made their way into the Egyptian pantry, adding a whole new dimension to the flavors of Egyptian cuisine. But it wasn't just about the introduction of new foods. The Islamic influence also brought with it a change in food habits. The practice of fasting during the holy month of Ramadan, for example, led to the development of special dishes consumed during suhoor, the pre-dawn meal, and iftar, the meal with which the fast is broken. During suhoor, Egyptians traditionally consume a hearty meal designed to sustain them throughout the day. This often includes ful midams, a dish of fava beans cooked with oil and spices served with bread. On the other hand, iftar is a grand affair. It usually starts with a light soup to prepare the stomach for the main meal. This is followed by a variety of dishes, with stuffed vegetables and grilled meats being popular choices. Desserts, such as konafa and baklava, are staple iftar treats, offering a sweet end to the meal. The influence of Islamic rule on Egyptian food is also evident in the halal dietary laws. These laws, which dictate what is permissible to eat, have shaped the meat-eating habits of Egyptians, with pork being notably absent from the traditional Egyptian diet. Thus, Islamic rule enriched Egyptian cuisine with new flavors and traditions, adding depth to its culinary identity. Did you know that the Ottoman Empire and European colonies left their mark on Egyptian cuisine too? Well, it's true. As Egypt found itself under the rule of the Ottoman Empire in the 16th century, a wave of Turkish influence swept across the country, introducing a plethora of new dishes and cooking methods. For instance, the Ottomans brought with them the tradition of stuffing vegetables, known as dolma. This culinary practice quickly took root in Egyptian kitchens, leading to the creation of local variations, such as stuffed vine leaves and bell peppers. Alongside these additions, the Ottoman influence also extended to sweets. Baklava, a rich sweet dessert pastry made of layers of phyllo filled with chopped nuts and sweetened with syrup or honey, became a beloved indulgence in Egypt. But the Ottoman Empire wasn't the only influence during this era. European colonies also had a substantial impact on Egyptian cuisine. With the French occupation in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, French culinary techniques started to permeate Egyptian food culture. The French introduced the concept of baking to Egypt, leading to the popularity of items like baguettes and croissants. Additionally, the Italians, with their close proximity and historical ties, introduced pasta. It wasn't long before macaroni and spaghetti found their way into the Egyptian diet, often served with a spicy tomato sauce, a nod to Egypt's love for strong flavors. Yet, despite these foreign influences, Egyptians never lost touch with their traditional food roots. Instead, they skillfully blended these new elements with their indigenous cuisine, creating a fusion that is uniquely Egyptian. This culinary fusion is evident in dishes like shawarma, a Middle Eastern dish of sliced meat, which in Egypt is often served in a French-style baguette instead of the traditional pita. So, the Ottoman and European influences brought a new dimension to Egyptian cuisine, making it even more diverse and vibrant. The result is a culinary culture that is not only a testament to Egypt's rich history, but also a celebration of its ability to adapt and evolve. Moving into modern times, how has Egyptian cuisine evolved in the 21st century? As we journey into the 21st century, the Egyptian cuisine, like many other aspects of the country, has been influenced by the forces of globalization and migration. The world has become a global village, and Egypt, with its rich culinary heritage, has not remained untouched. The rise of fast food chains in Egypt is a tangible testament to the impact of globalization. Egyptian streets are now dotted with international fast food outlets, offering everything from burgers and pizzas to sushi and fried chicken. However, the Egyptian palate has cleverly adopted these global foods, adding a distinctive Egyptian twist to them. For instance, the classic American burger has been reimagined with local spices and flavors, creating a fusion that is uniquely Egyptian. Migration too has left its mark on Egyptian cuisine. Egyptians living abroad have taken their traditional dishes with them, subtly modifying them to suit local tastes and ingredients. Back home, they've introduced flavors and techniques they've picked up from their host countries. This exchange has led to the emergence of a fusion cuisine that marries the traditional with the new. In the midst of all these changes, a trend has emerged in Egypt's culinary scene: the reinterpretation of traditional dishes in modern ways. Creative Egyptian chefs are taking age-old recipes and presenting them with a modern twist, playing with textures, flavors, and presentation. From the humble kashari, reinvented as a gourmet dish, to the classic full madams presented as a fine dining experience, Egyptian cuisine is experiencing a renaissance. This evolution, however, doesn't mean that the essence of Egyptian cuisine is lost. Far from it. The heart of Egyptian cuisine, its reliance on fresh, local ingredients, and its connection to the country's history and culture, remains intact. Egyptian cuisine in the 21st century is a beautiful blend of the old and the new, a testament to the country's ability to adapt and evolve while staying true to its roots. Even in modern times, Egyptian cuisine continues to evolve, embracing global influences while staying true to its rich historical roots. So, what does this journey through time tell us about Egyptian cuisine? We've traversed through the sands of time, from the banks of the ancient Nile to the bustling streets of modern Cairo, exploring the evolution of a cuisine that is as old as the pyramids themselves. The origins of Egyptian cuisine lay in the fertile lands of the Nile Valley, where the ancients cultivated wheat and barley, giving rise to bread and beer, the staple diet of the early Egyptians. The Nile also provided an abundance of fish, while hunting in the lush marshlands yielded game and fowl. As we moved forward in time, we saw the profound impact of Islam on Egyptian food, most notably in the introduction of dietary laws and the tradition of fasting during Ramadan. These Islamic influences brought new ingredients like rice and spices, and culinary traditions such as stuffing vegetables, which remain popular to this day. The Ottoman era brought further changes, with the introduction of coffee and the sweet pastries we now know as baklava and Turkish delight. European influence during the 19th and 20th centuries brought techniques and dishes like bouillabaisse and casserole, enriching the Egyptian culinary repertoire. In the modern era, Egyptian cuisine has retained its traditional core, while embracing global influences. Today, you can find everything from ancient dishes like full madams and kushari, to international fast food chains, reflecting the country's increasingly cosmopolitan character. Throughout this journey, we've seen how historical, cultural, and geographical factors have interplayed to shape Egyptian cuisine. The Nile Valley's fertile soil, the Islamic dietary laws, the Ottoman love for sweets, the European culinary techniques, and the global influences of the modern era have all contributed to the rich tapestry of Egyptian food. In the end, Egyptian cuisine is a fascinating reflection of the country's rich history and diverse influences, a delicious testament to its enduring cultural heritage.